All right, everybody, welcome to Brighter. So next week on Wednesday, October 18th, Tesla is going to be reporting their Q3 earnings call and will be sharing their financials and outlook. Today, we're going to review the top 10 questions from retail investors and the top 6 questions from institutional investors. These questions are usually very, very accurate. They can highlight the top issues that investors care about. And they're usually very good at having Tesla explain their most important near-term business priorities. So today we have Randy Kirk with us. Randy is an author and he's written 2 books on Elon Musk. He's also his own host on YouTube called Randy Kirk. So check him out. He covers economy and the stock. Welcome, Randy. Thank you for joining me.
Hey, it's always great to be here.
Love having you here because you're very optimistic. And today we're going to walk through all the different questions that are in the upcoming earnings call. Most people are already viewing this earnings call to be kind of not going to be a blowout because they had the planned production downtimes. But there's so much going on with Tesla, and there's so many things that people want to know. And like you always say, people are always looking forward. And so I think the Q3, what happened in Q3 is kind of built in already, and nobody cares so much except for guidance, and also except for these questions of what might happen. So let's review those. Here we have kind of a list of what it is. Now, this might still change because these questions that people are asking, they're basically based on kind of which questions are voted up, and then it's voted up based on how much ownership of stock people have. And so they may change by the time it's Wednesday next week, but there's still a very good list. Let's go through the 10 questions that retail investors are asking. The first one is, can you provide a progress update on the 4680 cell? Progress towards performance improvements and cost savings outlined on Battery Day. Go ahead and tell us what you're thinking about this question.
Yeah, if you don't mind me pitching my own show. Yesterday, Brian Wong and I did a very extensive dive into this, and I think they basically have preempted that question because they announced that they made their 20 millionth battery. So they made 10 million over the last 4 months. The limiting factor came out right after that and said that that was exactly on point to his numbers, where he's showing that they're doing 21% per month increase in production on line 1, which is the only line that's working right now. That this would be if this can, and then Brian Wong did the numbers and said if they can continue at this 21% rate, they will be fully ramped out 6 months from now on line 1. We both, with my manufacturing background and his background, we both came to the conclusion that they should be able to start line 2 very soon. And then by the middle of the year, they should be ramping up all 4 lines in Texas and beginning the ramp up in Berlin and potentially even beginning the ramp up in Reno.
Actually, it's very, very good that it's the very first question. I do believe that batteries is the rate limiting step. It's the big issue. There's very much concerns about 4680s. So this was very nice to say. At least I think, I don't know if you just said this, but yeah, Cybertruck is not going to be restricted based on that. So that's the key thing I think people are
exactly precisely. Yes.
The next big question people have, of course, is FSD autonomy. There's tremendous excitement because of the version 12 is complete rewrite. It's basically all neural nets end to end, and it is promising. And so people want to know, how are the biggest challenges? What are the biggest challenges? How will you extract the mind's eye view from an end-to-end network? I'm not sure what that means exactly, but I think that's the visualization that you see. But okay, what do you think about this question?
Yeah, so I think we will see V12 very soon. Who knows? Could even be announced next week. I think we'll see V12 very soon. But I think it's kind of like Chat GPT. I think it's a matter that they don't even know that there will be a morning, there will be a day when they wake up and they go, okay, that's it. We've got it. It will start to do what it needs to do to finish the task. When this is done, when V12 is up, and if it's as good as Elon says it is, and what we saw on the video from, what was that, almost 4, 5, 6 weeks ago now, if it's as good as that, we are really, really close to having the way what I would love to hear Elon say at the earnings call is, okay, from now on, V12 is up and you are covered. Your insurance is covered. Tesla is going to pay the bill in any accident that is caused by the car from this day forward if you're on FSD. That would be at least a 80 to 100
Yeah.
dollar price rise the next day. Well,
Very,
the
very
next
optimistic. That's not going to happen. That will happen next year before they will take.
Mercedes already did it. Mercedes said that on their level 4, that
Yeah,
level
no,
3,
the
that
car. Yeah, those cars can't drive more than 30 miles per hour, certain time frames, and certain highways only. I mean, literally, it's bumper to bumper kind of that they're talking about. So that's not going to happen. But I think that I think Ashok Alaswamy, director of Autopilot of the software, basically was saying that he thinks it might be in customers' hands by the end of this year. He had said that in June, and so yeah, it might happen, but it won't. I don't think it's going to happen this month. It might happen by the end of this year or maybe next year, but they probably will announce something in the earnings call. So that's really critical because again, that just gets us all. It really gives the timelines will start to crunch once people start realizing that this is coming out sooner or later. The next question here is Cybertruck deliveries. So, what's your estimates of how many will come out this year? How many do you anticipate for 2024?
Yeah, so based on the number of gigacastings that are already out in the yard, I think we're going to have a little bit of a surprise on the upside this year. But then I'm the optimist, right? So I think we'll end up with at least a couple of thousand this year.
Whoa.
Actually, yeah, at least a couple of thousand produced and shipped this year. And then, but next year, I might be kind of in the middle on this one. Until I know more about the actual ramp, I'm going to just be at the 150,000 level for next year. I know there are some who think that we'll ramp as fast as the Model Y, and we might. It might actually be faster. Who knows? But I'm gonna go with 150,000 for next year.
Oh, Randy, you're fun, but no. So it's going to be hundreds at this particular this year, and it's going to be a lot higher than what you're saying for next year. And the reason is because yeah, this is really hard to make, right? They're not going to make, they have to iron out the kinks, and they want to make sure that it's absolutely precise, as you saw in his email. It's going to be a lot slower ramp, but it's built for manufacturing, and so by the second half of this year, next year, the last quarter, by that point, it could start to jump up and catch up and rise faster. So I have a complete opposite of what you're thinking. Okay. Next question is, do you expect the 4680 ramp to support both Cybertruck and Model Y production next year? What's your thinking about this?
Yeah, again, when Brian Wong and I did our analysis, we came to the conclusion that it would not only be able to cover the Model Y and the Cybertruck next year, but by
Yeah.
the end of the year, it is very possible that they might be going into secondary chemistries in order to start putting it into other vehicles as well, and or maybe even into storage, because
Good.
we could be talking about a terawatt,
So our
very close.
favorite,
I'm sorry, 100 megawatts by the end of the year, which would be the equivalent of
right,
everything that they used in 2022.
yeah, Jordan limiting factor is amazing. He covers this so well. Got to watch all of his videos again, but he's just so precise. So this is our favorite product, Optimus, the bot. So will it be in Gigafactory lines next year? If so, how many would you guess would be deployed? So he's already said it will be. It's probably even there now, but it's like it's great. Just ask them straight out, have them say for sure, and then how many would you guess would be deployed? So this is fantastic question.
Well, I think you know my position on Optimus.
Yeah,
I am.
yeah.
I now call myself in my X handle. It says the Optimus Optimist. So yeah, I'm way out ahead of everybody else on this in terms of the prediction line. I was Nobody else would have concluded that Tesla was going to be making robots on a line this year, but apparently they are, and possibly even another higher put up yesterday for the Optimus line. So my best guess right now is that they will begin to make on some kind of a pilot line early next year. They will be making uh, maybe still partially hand built, maybe partially on the line, but they will be making significant quantities early in the year, and they may already be in the factories now, but they will definitely be in the factories early 2024. I believe that they will have a full line. They will be ramping by mid-year. So everything will be done, full ramp by next year, and maybe I was hoping for 1 million in 2024. I think maybe I'll bare minimum 100,000 next year, and they will begin to sell them to third parties.
Okay. So I'm much more in line with this one. I'm a bot optimist myself. I was calling for, hundreds by the end of this year. Obviously, he just said they only have 30 by October, but November, which is next month already, they're going to have, he was estimating, Elon, that the actuators would already be kind of finalized and they would do in scale. And so next year, certainly it's going to be in a production line. I would never say a million. That's just not going to happen by next year. And they will not be selling it to third parties. They will have it all in their organization. They have plenty use for as many as they produce, the thousands, the tens of thousands. What they might do is offer it to be used by their own third party suppliers. Some of those might just proof of concept kind of thing beyond just Tesla, but it's not like they're selling it and they're buying it. That's not going to happen next year. But very, very, very cool. Okay, so I've combined these two questions together. Update on the expected ramp for Tesla Semi. And are any Tesla suppliers common with Ford, GM, Stellantis at significant solvency, operational risk based on UAW strike? Is your analysis of your supply base risk complete? Great question. Great question.
Oh, wow.
Thoughts on these two?
Okay. So the update on the Tesla Semi. So I have this feeling, it's nothing more than that, connecting dots in my own head, nothing to do. I mean, yes, there's been statements made and things happening. I think that they're going to go back to producing these at a decent rate, 100 a month or 200 a month shortly. I think that they've been accumulating data. They've been making changes. They've been listening to Pepsi. They've been they've been just trying to dial it in a little better. Plus, they didn't have enough 4680s. So I think now we'll start to see some production, and they'll begin to do what's needed to be done. I believe that they've also been doing some hiring in the Semi line. Just starting last week, I believe they've been hiring people to get the Semi up and going. So I think I'm wondering if they need to add that addition in Reno before they can make them in greater quantities. I thought that was true, but I think maybe they can begin their actual first line of Semi productions in mass production without adding that space on to Reno, or maybe it'll only take a couple of months to add the space on. In either case, I'm going for 50,000 in 2025.
Yeah. And the next question there, suppliers.
Yeah, I have not thought about that one, so I'm going to take a pass.
Yeah, agreed. That's a good one. Okay, next question here is, when do you expect the Model 3 Highland to be available in the US? We've been hearing rumors that it's going to be in the first quarter of 2024. But then this morning, they just reduced the leasing price for the Model 3s. So
everything, Model Ys too. This is the first time. This is the first time I think that I've ever actually been directly critical of Elon and Tesla. I don't know why they came out with that Shanghai version months ahead of the US version on the Model 3. And months
the Fremont factory is it's not going to be able to do it. That's why it takes them time to
I know, but why do you, the Osborne effect? I mean, if I was a buyer for a model, and we have a Model Y, okay. If I was thinking about buying another 3 or a Model Y, I would be holding. There's those changes.
More sales in Europe and China probably dwarfs the loss of sales with the Osborne effect of Model 3.
No, but I'm even talking about the Model Y sales. I would be, if I was buying another Model Y right now, I'd be Osborning, man. I'd be waiting.
Why?
I would not
waiting for the next Model Y?
Mainly because of suspension. Mainly because of suspension. The Model Y is not a smooth driving car. It's not a smooth riding car. It's a great car for guys who like that, like that sports car feel. But it is, my wife is not thrilled with the suspension on her Y.
I agree, but just remember that very few people know the details like we do. Most people have no idea. They don't even know that Highland existed.
I'm just shocked. Anyway, I'm hoping that the Model 3 Plus will be out in no later than January. And I'm hoping that all the changes on the Model Y that are equivalent, except maybe the exterior design changes, that all the interior things and the suspension and things like that, I'm hoping that the Model Y gets those really early in 2024, but I'm not holding my breath.
Yep. All right, we've got to keep moving here. Question number 9. The Model 3 and Model Y now cost approximately the same as an average non-luxury car, non-luxury SUV. Why does Tesla repeatedly choose price cuts over cheaper strategies to grow volume, such as educational ads? Here we go again. Let's not spend too long on this, but they're
Okay.
asking it yet again. You got
Yeah.
Elon
So I'm
already
going to
saying
go.
we're going to do it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the simple explanation that Elon gives, and it's TAM. So there's a total addressable market, and the total addressable market that's missing in the United States, which is the main one that we're not grabbing, is the Model Y, to some extent the Model 3, but I guess both for the Midwest. And a Midwesterner, the price of gas is not as big an issue to them as it is in California. And so you need to get the price down to where the Midwesterner goes, oh, well, that's an obvious good deal. And because they're just not seeing it in terms of the gas savings like we do in California, Oregon, Washington, whatever, where the price of gas is crazy. So that's my feeling. The Midwesterners are also, we've talked about this before, they're feeling like they are being forced to buy electric vehicles, so they do need more prodding. And the prodding would be at some point, no, this is too good a deal not to buy it. And that's what
Yep.
I think he's trying to get.
Okay, so then another question on the Cybertruck: is there any a schedule defining issue with the Cybertruck remaining? So people just want to know, getting right to the kind of ability to scale it. So 6 questions from the institutional investors. And so the first one's very good. Can you please provide an update on capacity expansion plans for the company's factories in Berlin and Austin and the opening schedule of Gigafactory Mexico? So we've heard them say already that they're expanding Berlin and Austin. They just want to know when and a little more detail and the schedule for Gigafactory Mexico. So yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, I would certainly hope that they would give this information. The Gigafactory Mexico, I call it Gigamex. I think that's so much easier. Anyway, I think Gigamex is probably really close to turning that first shovel of dirt. I think Berlin might also be close. I think both of them, the permitting is really close, and I think that's all that's holding them up at this point. I think that there's a possibility that Tesla rethought, and there's been some reporting on this, rethought what they wanted to do in Mexico a little bit, and kind of redrew some plans and redrew some expectations. But the whole nonsense that it was being held up by these infrastructure requests of the Mexican governments, not a chance. That list of requirements for the infrastructure was there in the initial signing deal. That was just confirming the list. So that's not holding it up. I think they're ready to go. I think those are possible announcements next Wednesday. Maybe one of those could be a shock.
Yeah, very good. Okay. And then next question is: do you have an approximate timeline for the robotaxi? What excites you most about those projects progressing? So, a little bit further out, I think, surprisingly, but an institutional investor asking this, fantastic,
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's
Think
good
about that.
news. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Next, same with the next question. Look at this. These are institutional investors asking these questions. So the factory makes sense. These next two one, robotaxi, and this one is neural net path planning represents a significant advance in capability and safety for FSD. What steps is Tesla taking to make this technology available outside the US? We already know and have seen that Tesla's job openings, they've been hiring FSD testers, autopilot testers in every country around the world. Like you can name them, 30 plus countries, Japan and Europe and all over the world, even Australia and others. You can see that they've already hired these people. So not sure why they don't know that, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems obvious that Tesla wants to roll this out worldwide as fast as they possibly can. I don't see anything that's going to slow them down at this point with this neural net training approach. I think it's going to be an extremely exciting 2024.
This question is a very good one. How does the Model 3 Highland gross margins compare to the margins for legacy Model 3? I think they're going to probably very likely they will announce this, share it with us the earnings call, because they always do. They're the relentless focus on cost savings, talking about how they're reducing costs. They showed a graph last time that they had Investor Day. They showed that they reduced the Model 3 cost by 30% over the last 3 years since it was founded. And so why wouldn't they just come up and say, here's the actual gross margins? Yeah.
There's gonna be a video out later today on my channel with Brian Wang again, and basically what we're going to be talking. The title is going to be "Free Batteries." So basically, once the 4680 is up and going strongly, and they begin to reduce their cost of the 4680, and then you take out the IRA money, they're basically going to have free batteries. Now, I don't know how might that affect margins.
For sure. There's so many ways. Okay. Last two questions here. One is the sell side consensus assumes that Tesla is going to deliver 2.3 million in 2024. That's a 28% growth over 2023. Is this growth rate achievable without any mass market launches in 2024? Right? How do you get to the 2.3 or 2.5? And when does Tesla expect to return to its 50% long-term CAGR? So we talked about that later.
We did talk about that. I think you have to have at least that 150,000 Cybertrucks, and I'd much rather have your number. That would make it so much easier. We need Teslas to start selling in the Midwest, and I think they will. And we need the factories to produce the numbers that'll get us there. But I think you and I might agree on this. I'm not sure. I think Tesla completely held back on the ramp of Model Ys in both Berlin and Austin because there just wasn't enough TAM.
Okay. This last question shocks me a little bit, Randy, because it's what you said earlier. Is Tesla planning to accept legal liability for FSD? If so, when? Because Mercedes is doing it now. Oh, come on, Jesus! Again,
I'm telling you, they're going to do it.
Of course they will. They will.
It's a matter of which day. It'll be obvious. Well, first of all, you know what? I do know a little bit about this since I did go to law school. I even have a degree. I've never practiced today, so don't take my legal advice. But anyway, I do know a lot about this area of the law, though, because I've been a manufacturer. They're going to have to take legal liability. Once the car is doing the driving, you can't pin it on the driver. So it's not. They don't even have to say the words.
Of course they will. Yeah,
they'll have to take it.
They will, but it doesn't. They don't need to rush getting robotaxi. You need regulatory approval. You don't need to get legal liability before the regulatory approval. You just need to show that this product works.
You've got regulatory. You have regulatory. Okay. I'm sorry. You have regulatory okay in Florida right now. You can. They don't have to. They have to do boo in Florida.
Right. Many cities will start doing that. I agree with you. It's not going to take as long as people think. It's actually going to be a lot easier because many cities will fight for this once they see it works.
Yeah.
But only when you get the regulatory approval, then you do the legal liability. But right now, you just have to prove it works, and FSD take rates go up, and just that alone will cover significant gross margins. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. This is Randy Kirk. Follow him on his YouTube channel. Thanks. See you soon. Bye-bye.